morning to you, members of the media, and good morning to our listening and viewing public. Welcome to this morning's post cabinet briefing. We are facilitating this morning two launches. First, we'll have one spearheaded by Minister Garwe. It's the launch of the Uniform Assistance Program for 2018. Minister Garwe will be assisted by the SAO, Prime Minister's Office, Ms. Naomi Jeremiah, under whose auspices most of these programs are administered. So we'll get that launch first, and then we'll transition to the Attorney General and the rest of the members of the board for the Rehabilitation of Offenders project. That will be launched this morning. We know there's an act that has been implemented to give teeth to that project, so we'll hear about it right after this morning's launch. Just before Minister Garwe presents, I just want to announce next Wednesday and Thursday, as we know, the Caribbean Development Bank Board of Governors meeting. Mitchell is the current chair of the CDB. He will be passing the baton on to the incoming chair next Thursday at the closing. I hope all the members of the media would have had your accreditations in so you can facilitate the broadcast and so of those events. Next Wednesday morning, the opening ceremony will be at 9 a.m. at the Trade Center. We know it's usually by invitation only. But there are a number of other events during the course of the two-day period that will be open to the public. There's a William Demas Memorial Lecture at SGU on Tuesday, May 29th at 7:30 p.m. Next Wednesday, the 30th, there'll be several seminars taking place at the Radisson Grand Beach Resort in the afternoon that the media will be able to cover as well. The CDB meeting ends at midday on Thursday, the 31st, with a closing press conference facilitated usually by the president of the bank, as well as the incoming and outgoing chairs. So I'm sure you'll be able to hear much more about this in the coming days, but for this morning, I just wanted to ensure that you got this last notification to get your accreditations in. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Keisha, and good morning to the media. Good morning to those of the folks out there listening and viewing by on the GIS stream. It's good to be here this morning, and as the press secretary announced, there are a number of things that we're going to do this morning. But firstly, we just want to present to the nation the School Uniform Assistance Program. You know, education is one of the pillars upon which this government entrusts to build this economy and to ensure that our people are given every opportunity to provide the necessary wherewithal to ensure that this economy benefit from the service. One of the things that we have identified over the years is that some families are not not positioned to provide all the basic needs for the students to ensure that they get the quality education that we talk about. And as such, this program was instituted, recommissioned, I should say, in 2013 to address that need. The School Uniform Assistance Program is designed to provide assistance to the most vulnerable families within the tri-island state of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And there is a number of criteria that has to be followed in ensuring that those persons are well served. As we continue to say, it is our intention that no child should be left behind. Last year, for the first time, we introduced in the program the preschool or kindergarten component, which we provide some assistance for the kindergarten. This year, it will continue, and we, from judging from what happened last year, and I want to say that we look forward with great anticipation to serving the community again and to be at the place where we support our students and to give them all the necessary tools so that they can do well. Last week we had the sitting of the CPEA, and it's the largest number of students we've had sit in the CPA in any one given year, and that is testimony to a growth in the population. But with the increase in numbers of students sitting the CPA also is an increase in the need for support, and government will continue to ensure that we are there, well positioned to provide the necessary assistance. I will turn over to Ms. Jeremiah, who will give a breakdown as to how the program will unroll or roll out this year, and what we are looking to do in the next few days as it relates to communicating with the resource persons to ensure that the application process, the various persons who are the beneficiaries are met and they fulfill the requirement that is established by the committee. So, Ms. Jeremiah.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister with responsibility for information and NADMA. This morning we are indeed happy to launch the 2018 Uniform Assistance Program that is being spearheaded by the Prime Minister's Ministry. Today we have launched with similar criteria as we follow through from since 2013, the application to the office. The program will commence in the month of May, and it will conclude within a 3 months period that will be at the end of July of this year. Again, we have criteria that are necessary that all persons who are eligible can apply. The seed officers and together with the housing officers will play an integral role to ensure that no child is left behind, that we can identify all the children who are eligible to be part of this program, and that they can be brought in, the applications that can be brought in. The seed officers will be working again as last year with the so these will be the schools that will be participating with this. Excluded are all the private schools. So again, the pre-primary schools, so the seed officers will be working along with the schools, get all the information, and again we have included that that each school prepared the information, work along again as you did last year. We had a very good rapport and we got all the information that will be for the year. Vouchers will be shirts, socks, vests, pants, school items, shoes, school bags, school belts, and minimal stationery items. So these will be listed on the vouchers. Now the vouchers, again, that will be produced based on the applications. The vouchers will have security checks on them. So persons who think that they might be able to duplicate the vouchers, this will not be happy because we'll be having a reconciliation be reconciled. Again, in the 2018 estimates of revenue and expenditure, we have budgeted 800,000 towards this. We look back at the records for last year, 2017, we had a applications that was processed during last year. Now, the vouchers now, for the preschool, we have each preschool child will be eligible to $50. For the primary school student will be eligible to $100, and for the secondary school each child will be eligible to $150 worth of vouchers per house. Once you get the total maximum of $450 per household, we cannot exceed with that amount. Again, we will be meeting the ministry. We have scheduled a number of meetings during this week. From tomorrow, Thursday, the 24th of May, we'll be having scheduled meeting with the seed officers and the housing officers. We'll be meeting with the store owners on Friday, and we also will be meeting with the principals on Friday and the teachers, so that all our stakeholders will be having consultation as usual, so that we'll have a successful launch of the I thank you.
Um, with additional information which I want to present this morning.
Maybe we should take questions on the Uniform Assistance Program before we move on to the other items.
Morning. For the allocation for each child, what happens if a parent has 3 children in secondary school?
Okay, school students, then we cannot $150.
Also, okay.
Yes.
You so I thought you had a question. Okay. Senator, we can continue, please. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. I'd like to inform the nation. I know in the last couple of weeks we had some cries as it relates to the sargassum seaweed, and persons wanting to know what government is doing as it relates to alleviating some of the problems out there. I know areas in Soubise, Marquis, Conference, and St. David's and the likes are breeding better today because we have started over a week ago as it relates to the removal of those seaweeds. To date, removal. Also, Carriacou and Petite Martinique, I know there were over 100 truckloads of seaweed removed from Carriacou. The objective here is to constantly work at it. One would say that in the removal of the seaweed, we're seeing movements of sand as well. But really and truly, there's nothing you can do if the seaweed landed itself on the beach because they come in with the wave. And with every deposit, they will come with sand. And so if there's a new wave, there will be additional seaweed and additional sand. So to really extract the seaweed from the beach, you will have to scoop everything out. But the long-term goal of the Ministry of the Environment, along with the Ministry of Health, who are basically spearheading this drive, is to more or less capture the seaweed out in the ocean and minimize the amount that is landed on the beach. So there are some models that we're looking at this point in time to achieve this objective. And if that is, when that is finalized, we obviously will be announcing to the nation. But at this point in time, our cleanup effort continues. So we have a number of contractors who are working towards removing the seaweed. And from the report that we have had so far, and with the comments from the public, they are getting a good relief. One problem though, based on the satellite imagery we have received, this problem is likely to be with us up until August. So yes, we clean now, and based on the current movement, in the next week we can have probably the same amount or even more than what we have just removed. So it's a serious issue, and it speaks back to what we've been saying all along, climate change. And one of the studies we've been saying that we've received is saying that if the rainy season is long and heavy as is forecasted in the South American area, the Orinoco River, where most of this seaweed is coming from, is likely to put out much more than we have seen. So it is a long haul, and we all have to be prepared for this period. Whatever you can do to protect your property and yourself, we want to advise you to do that. But of course, the government will continue to do what it has to do to protect our people. The other issue I'd like to raise this morning is the reorganization of our constituency offices. As you know, after the election, there was a halt in the operations of all the functions that was provided by the constituency offices. We're looking to resume work within the constituencies in June. As I said, there's going to be a reorganization. The office will be manned by a professional person who will be able to oversee and to ensure that government gets value for money, and there will be an effective management system employed so that persons can come into the offices and get the services. I say it's the constituency office, it's not a parliament or a political office. It's an office that will be serving all Grenadians. One new addition within the constituency office will be the youth officer. And that youth officer will be the liaison person who will work with the ministries, the Grenada Development Bank and the likes, to provide for the young people within the constituencies the information on the various services that is out there. So we're talking about scholarships, we're talking about business loan, we're talking about opportunities for training, just name it. That youth person will be the link to us providing information to the young people within the communities so that they can benefit from the opportunities that will present itself. A new initiative that also has been will commence in June is the House Repair Brigade. As you know, government has been consistently providing assistance to our needy citizens as it relates to house repairs. One of the problems that we have identified, families will receive the material but do not have the wherewithal to effect the repairs. So the Ministry of Housing has developed a new proposal which has been accepted by Cabinet, the implementation of some 15 brigade in all 15 constituencies. How this will work. If you are approved for material to repair or to build, that brigade will be the one primarily responsible to do it if the person do not have the means to carry the work for him or herself. The material will not be dispensed if the brigade is not available to provide that sort of work, meaning that the brigade is probably engaged otherwise, building for someone else. But if you can provide information to the ministry that you have the wherewithal to do the work yourself, the material will be provided to you, and we obviously will monitor to ensure that the work is done. As I've said, there will be some 15 brigades, and the brigade will have a total of around 10 persons. There will be 2 national supervisors or coordinators who will coordinate the work of all the brigades island-wide to ensure that, again, the work that has been proposed is carried out and carried out effectively. In June again, we're looking at another program of assistance that the government has been providing, and that is the debushing program. I know quite a lot of beating has been given to this program, but it's a very effective and necessary program in terms of providing the aesthetics of this country. And I know we have been credited quite a lot by our visitors, how beautiful and how clean the environment is. We want to maintain that. And we have enhanced the debushing program to ensure that government continues to get value for money as it relates to the debushing program. There will be the relaunch of the farm labor support within the debushing program, but all in all, the management of this program will be enhanced to ensure that the gangs that have been listed are out there working and providing service to the various constituencies. Of course, if you have an issue or you have a concern as it relates to the work of the debushers, you can obviously call into the ministry to complain if you have a concern. But we want to do this together. We want to ensure that our people, our citizens who are providing the work, they are respected and they're protected. And at the same time, the government continues to get value for money for the resources that it will dispense in providing this program. Also, there is a contract has been awarded for the installation of floodlights on community playing fields and basketball courts. As you know, this government is very big in providing opportunities for young people to re-sport, because we have seen how transformative sport has been in the lives of not only Grenadians but young people around the world. We have seen how much the National Athletic Stadium and the Cricket Stadium is providing opportunities for our young people. We're saying we want to ensure that throughout the country, our young people will have the opportunity in the evening to exercise and to harness the skills in whatever discipline, be it cricket, football, basketball, netball, lawn tennis. So, Strategic Holdings Limited has been awarded a contract to provide lighting on those playing fields and basketball courts. We also be looking at a new component to install solar lights, at least to ensure that we conform to the agreement that we have signed in Paris as it relates to reducing on our carbon footprints. And with the installation of solar lights will give us to achieve that goal that we have signed on in Paris. Just one final one that I want to speak about, and the government needy assistance program. I know there are folks out there saying that this program has been disbanded, and look, the people are left not getting the support that they deserve. What I can say, and we all know, one of the philosophy of this government, this administration, is to provide care for its most vulnerable people in the society. And we have consistently stood in the gap and to ensure that those persons who need the benefit the most, they receive it. And there is no turning away from this principle that we have adopted. So the needy assistance program has been restructured, and yes, from June there will be the rollout, and persons will be served as they have been in the past. Yes, there will be, as I say, more coordination and more oversight to ensure that the persons who need it the most, they receive it. I want to stop here. I think I gave you enough.
Yes, I think you should. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Okay, we'll pause for questions.
Morning, Senator. Just want to clarify with what you mentioned about the sargassum, because I know a press release that we received from, I think, Ministry of Climate Resilience would have said that in the first instance, the cleanup campaign would have been from May to June. So, of course, this means that it would have to be extended based on what you've said, that we're looking at maybe much more. So then, of course, more, well, whatever funds, resources would have to be spent into ensuring that we keep the beaches as clean as possible.
The sargassum seaweed will affect our development in terms of the tourist trade. And government will not in any way allow anything to hamper that development. Yes, the initial release came out stating that May to June we'll look to the cleanup, and there was a budget for that. But subsequently, we got a satellite imagery saying that, hey, this could be up to August. And based on what I explained before, with the rainfall and the Orinoco River standing at more, it will be a longer cleanup. But we're prepared to do what it takes to ensure that we provide the necessary funding so that it can happen.
My next question is to Ms. Jeremiah. Good morning. How many suppliers are we dealing with for the schoolwork program? Are we dealing with the same amount, or do we have any new ones as compared to last year and the previous years?
Well, for this year, 2018, we have maintained all the suppliers of the Uniform Assistance Program. We have a total of 25 suppliers in all, and they are divided based on the constituency. For example, the stores that are located in St. Andrews, like Shalima example, located in St. Andrews, the St. Andrews students will retrieve their vouchers at that store. So we have the list, all the list of vouchers will be, the stores will be on the voucher. So they won't have to think who are the participants. It's listed there, and they know that that's at the store, that way they'll be redeemable. Thank you.
Okay, morning, Minister. My question to you is in relation to the Sargassum seaweed as well. I know that two areas, two locations have been, say, selected for the deposit of those that are being, say, scooped up. Would that mean, based on the findings that you talk of with the satellite imagery, would that mean that we would have to perhaps allocate other sites as time goes on?
No, not necessarily so. What we have done with the removal of the seaweed and to deposit, primarily most of it would be on the Pearls Airstrip. It will be washed, and the farmers, we have contacted the farming groups already, and they will be retrieving the sargassum from there to place into the farm. So it's like we deposit, they remove, we deposit. So I don't think there will be a need for additional holding areas.
Okay, for the constituency offices that you spoke of, what are some of the areas that would be looked at specifically to make the adjustments?
Well, if I think I get your question correctly, the objective here is to ensure that the vulnerable people are served, to ensure that their needs are met. What are the needs? The officers will be able to ascertain exactly what the needs are, and then based on the level of support that we have been given, or is our pledge to give, we'll continue to do that. But here what we want to ensure, like for example, we have persons who may come for medical assistance. Yes, that will be looked at, but it has to be verified. You cannot come with information that is not proven. And that's one of the areas we will strengthen. As I've said, the persons who need it most will receive the benefits.
Okay, are you saying that there was a glitch, that it was not happening perhaps as expected before?
That's why we had a review. The review would have pointed out a number of glitches. And with every glitch, you put in a mechanism to mitigate against it happening again. And that's what we have done.
Okay, for the brigade that you spoke about as it relates to housing, how would this election process be? Would it be something that government getting people to do the work, or would it be people having to volunteer from the different areas to do the work? How does that work?
The constituencies have, well, let me put it this way. Almost all the constituencies have existing brigades where persons are contracted and they do work. Some of the time they volunteer, some they pay. In this case, the established brigade going forward will be a paid position. So the constituency offices will be responsible to select those persons based on whatever application. Because you have in that the skilled persons like the carpenter or mason, then you have helpers, you have a checker. The bottom line is, as I said, 10 persons will constitute a brigade, but that will come from the constituency. Important point. The persons in a brigade will be a resident of the constituency he's a part of.
Okay, how soon we seeing the rollout?
How?
Soon would we see that rolling out?
As of June.
Okay.
Okay. Additional point I want to bring here. as you remember, the constituency offices, they are the responsibility of the Parliament. And so the payments have been made through the Parliament. And if there are any other additional information you require, you can call the Parliament and speak to the acting clerk, which is Mr. Adrian Francis. And he will provide you with all the additional information. But the objective here is to ensure that every Grenadian are served via the constituency office.
I just need some clarity. Good morning. With regard to the constituency offices, to the best of my knowledge, when it originally started under Parliament, it has since been moved as a vote under the Ministry of Finance. So is this now additional responsibility of the Office of Parliament?
No, it's not additional responsibility. They are to supervise payments and the likes and so forth. And there is a reason for this. It was said by some quarters that this is a political office and we only serve people who align to us. And that's not the case. It's on the Parliament, and the Parliament has that responsibility to ensure that Grenadians are served.
My other question to do again with the Constituency Review Office. One of the concerns of person over the years has been use of that office. Seems like it was twinned with both the Parliament work, the work of parliamentarians, the constituency representative, which falls on the Parliament, as well as the work of the political party. What assurance are you giving that this new restructuring, we will not see the work of direct political work there?
Linda, if I'm the parliamentary representative and I am to be in my office, it's obvious. People will come to see me and I'll be doing political work by seeing them. But the point here, the office is open and the office will serve Grenadians. You will not in any way be disenfranchised because you're perceived to be of one orientation or the other. And that is a mandate. Hence the reason why we have said in the restructuring, there will be a professional manager who will oversee the work of the office. And that person, the orientation and the responsibility is to ensure that all Grenadians are served. And that's the mandate. That's what we're asking to be done and we expect to be done.
You see, I'm asking that because I know people are hearing that this morning, and probably some people might be puzzled. Last week we had in the House of Representatives the reallocating of the budget. There was no increase in the mass amount, but relocation of, because we now have new established ministry. We see here now that there will be a youth officer and there will be a manager. To me, that is additional staff for an office that once didn't have that. Where is the money will be coming from to pay these people? We have not increased the budget for anything other than because of establishing the Ministry of Climate Change. There is now a need to reallocate.
Okay, there's two things here, Linda. Let's put it this way. We have had managers of the offices before. It's not a new thing. They have been there. But from the review, it proved that there were some gaps. So we have decided to step back and to have a person of a certain acumen who will manage the office. So in terms of what you're asking, if there's an increase, no, there's not an increase. There was no increase in the budgetary allocations for that. The monies were there all along.
And my final question for this round is, okay, somebody's out.
Any others? Anyone else has a question before we transition? Is that a yes?
At the official opening of Parliament, the Governor General mention of suspending the program. The resumption that you're talking about in June, these are the programs that are now being resumed. Are you at liberty to share with us what were the findings of the suspension and investigation?
Okay, so first question. Yes, this is the resumption of the programs the Governor General spoke of that was suspended. As it relates to the findings, I'm not at the place now to provide a detailed report as to what the findings are. But you can read from what has been presented now that there was some gaps. And we have the measures that we have put at this point in time to mitigate against it reoccurring. And I am confident that what we have put in place now, with the restriction of all those programs, we will get, as I say, a better program serving the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martinique.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Garwe, and thank you, Ms. Jeremiah. As I announced earlier, we'll transition to the Attorney General, Sir Lawrence Joseph, and his team, the board that is going to be serving the new Rehabilitation of Offenders project. I welcome them. Thanks.
Go ahead. A pleasant good morning to all. I'm here with the Rehabilitation of Offenders Board to give you information with regards to the project of expunging certain offenses from the records of offenders under certain situations. The board is a 5-member board, and I am the chairman, Lawrence Joseph. We have the records officer of the Royal Grenada Police Force, ASP Alfred Pierre, Sergeant Pierre. We have Ms. Veronica Charles, Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry for Social Development. We have Ms. Shonali Pascal, who is the Research Officer in the Prime Minister's Ministry. She's the Secretary of the board. And one person is unavoidably absent, is Mr. Norman Gilbert, who is a coordinator in the Ministry of Youth and Sports. You may recall that at the end of last year, in the month of September, Parliament passed an act entitled the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act 2017. That act makes provisions for certain criminal convictions of offenders to become spent, for the records to be expunged, and for matters connected therewith. That act became effective on the 1st of November 2017 when the Governor General proclaimed the act. The main purpose of the act is for the appointment of the Rehabilitation of Offenders Board, and for that board to receive applications of convicted persons in the past who are desirous of having some of their offenses be declared to be spent and be expunged from the records of the Royal Grenada Police Force. But there are certain conditions to enable that project. For example, in accordance with Schedule 1 of the Act, there are certain offenses for which certain persons cannot be considered for rehabilitation. For example, a conviction for murder, voluntary manslaughter, rape, robbery with violence, arson, any indictable offense carrying a penalty including imprisonment for a term of 15 years or more of imprisonment, and convictions where the following sentences have been imposed: a sentence of imprisonment for life, a sentence of imprisonment for a term exceeding 5 years. So once persons are convicted for those offenses, consideration will not be given by the board with regards to expunging any of those offenses from the records. And with regards to Schedule 2 of the Act, the periods of rehabilitation for particular offenses are outlined there. For example, a fine or other non-custodial sentence subject to rehabilitation under this Act, the period of rehabilitation for adults is 4 years, and for juveniles it is 2 years. An adult is anybody above the age of 18 years, according to the Act. For a sentence of imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months, an adult, the period for rehabilitation for an adult is 6 years, and the period of rehabilitation for a child, as a person under 18 years of age, would be 3 years. A sentence of imprisonment for a term of 6 months or more, but not exceeding 5 years. Any sentence exceeding 5 years, you will not be considered for expungement. So 6 months to 5 years, an adult, you have to remain rehabilitated for 10 years if you're an adult, and for a child, it's 5 years. So at the moment, we have everything in place for the launch of this project. We have application forms, and the Secretary will speak to you more about the application forms. And there is a fee that will be charged. It's a $50 fee. We made it quite small, but we made it to avoid people making unnecessary applications. So the fee is $50 and it can be paid at the Treasury. The Secretary will explain further on this.
Okay, the cost of the application form is $50. An account code has been established. The application forms will be made available at the Ministry of Legal Affairs on H.A. Blaze Street, all district revenue offices throughout the Tri-Island state of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, all police stations. Payments should only be made at the revenue offices, the cash office at the ministerial complex, and the treasury. However, the completed application forms along with the receipt should be submitted only at the Ministry of Legal Affairs. So that's how the process goes for the application forms.
Thank you, Ms. Pascal, and I'll ask Sergeant Pierre to outline his part of it.
Yes, morning. Once someone qualifies for the record to be expunged, they first have to fill out the application form, right? It should be filled out in block letters. They should also include their previous convictions and a reason why they need the record to be expunged. Okay, the form also has, like Mr. Lawrence said, Schedule 1 and 2, which outlines what records can be expunged. So if you know you fall within this category, then you know you're not qualified to apply for this process, right? Also, you have any additional information that one sees fit to support his application, he or she can also attach to the application, okay?
Thank you. Ms. Charles, want to add anything?
Good morning. When an application is being submitted at the Ministry of Legal Affairs, it must be accompanied by an official receipt. Once the application is determined to be complete, a request would be made to the Ministry of Social Development, who would conduct a social inquiry about the applicant. Then the Royal Grenada Police Force will also do a check of the records to make sure that the information submitted regarding the number of offenses have been properly recorded on the form. Thereafter, the board will convene a meeting, a monthly meeting, where we would look and deliberate on all applications. When the applications are before the board, you could only have two results. Either it's approved or it's denied. Now, the board will make one of these recommendations, and thereafter the applicant will be notified of the end result of his application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, we must get a real life situation here. There are several people who in their youths especially commit minor offenses. For example, obscene language, or you might smoke a spliff. And with these offenses, even though you have been sentenced for a month in jail or 2 months in jail, these offenses remain on the records. And if someone wants to get a visa to go to the United States of America, or they want to pursue some scholarship to go to England or some other country, these records inhibit them from obtaining the necessary desire. As a consequence, this act now comes into play. And Grenada is not the first country to enact this legislation. We have the United Kingdom, we have the United States of America, we have Jamaica, we have St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I believe. They also have a similar acts in play, and they expunge certain offenses from the records to enable people to have a clean slate after a certain period, after the rehabilitation period. So in making any declaration, official declaration, with regards to any application, they do not have to put those offenses which have been expunged from the records on the application. if they are convicted for some offense in the court, these offenses cannot come forward before the court as previous convictions. They will be expunged from the records. And Mr. Sergeant Alfred Peer here is the person responsible for overseeing the records. And if he is directed by the board to expunge those offenses from the records, he expunges them and they cannot be used officially with regards to persons who have committed those offenses.
Good morning. I would like to start with Mr. Joseph. I just want to make sure I get it clear. And again, I just want to use the example you just made about a spliff. If, let's say, Miss Charles, mentioned about the board meeting monthly. Let's say somebody is imprisoned for like 3 months. What would happen? Would it mean that if this is expunged, that they won't have to serve like the other 2 months or the remaining 6 weeks or something?
No, that's not the case.
Okay.
That person would have served the 3 months if they have been imprisoned for 3 months.
Okay.
But they have to wait until how many years did I say? Dependent on the conviction. They have to wait a certain period.
Okay.
And then they make the application. The offense is declared to be spent because they're within the rehabilitation period. Mm-hmm. And once the board decides that the records would be expunged, then that record would be expunged.
Okay, great. Yeah, right. I got that. Thank you. So, how soon are we? You're here this morning for the launch. How soon are we actually beginning the work?
The work begins on next week. Although we have all the forms ready, we need to supply all the offices and so on. So the official date will be next Monday.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Again, it's a minute of clarity. The law itself would have gone into effect as of November 2017. The law, the rehabilitation law, yes, it would have gone into.
Went into effect on the 1st of November last year.
Now, right. Persons who would have served time before that, these are the people who are now qualified?
Yes.
Okay, so it is not something...
No. People who committed offenses before the law came into effect would be entitled to make the application.
Okay. Now, if a person would have committed, a non-national would have committed an offense in Grenada and would have probably served time in prison, are these people eligible to ask for expulsion by record?
If they committed an
offense. So a person who, let's say, they had been caught with drugs in Grenada on the airport, they was in transit, they would have found guilty in Grenada, served time in Grenada prison, and then they would have most likely deported back to the other country. Would that person be qualified to ask the expungement record?
Well, we have to look at the offense, the conviction.
Mm-hmm.
Once the conviction or once the punishment is under 5 years, and a Grenadian?
No, they're not Grenadian. So I'm going to just use an island. Somebody from St. Vincent would have found in Grenada with drugs.
We are dealing with Grenadians with respect.
No, but they would have served the time in Grenada.
Yes, but we are dealing with Grenadians who would be expunged from the records.
Oh, so if a non-national committed an offense here, they cannot ask for it to be expunged on Grenada's record?
No, not in normal circumstances. You're talking about Grenadian citizens?
No, so I'm just going to use an island at random. So somebody from Dominica is caught with drugs, committed an offense, served the time in Grenada, and they had to leave. Can they now ask to say, please remove my record after they would have served the time?
Yes, they will not be entitled under the Act.
Okay. You mentioned about rape. I just want to make sure that, does it also include other sexual offenses, crime, or just specifically rape?
Any offense where the conviction is up to 15 years, or if somebody has been convicted and punished for more than 5 years, they cannot apply.
No, as you did mention about what cannot be asked for. Yes. I'm trying to recall whether or not all sexual offense is involved or just rape.
Well, the schedule says rape, but it goes on to say any indictable offense carrying a penalty including imprisonment for a term of 15 years or more of imprisonment. So if there is any sexual assault that carries that term of imprisonment, then they will not be applicable.
So a person who, I'm going to just use another, they had an indictable offense, most sexual offenses are indictable, and they would have gotten, let's say, 8 years, and that was a sexual assault case.
They will not be entitled, because once it crosses 5 years, they will not be entitled.
Okay, so, okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Yeah, so I'll read through the Rehabilitation of Offenders project. If not, we can go on to some other thing. I know you're anxious to talk about. Yes.
My first question has to do with last week we saw the laying in the House of the referendum bill that now has practically a new name. Why was the decision taken to remove? Initially, when I had spoken with you, the decision was taken to remove the code of conduct and allegiance to the Queen. But now, in reviewing it, I realized that everything has been excluded once it's not pertaining to the CCJ, but other than to the name, the change in the name of the court and the CCJ. Why that decision was made?
Okay. First of all, we sought the advice of the Grenada Bar Association. And generally, we seek the advice of the bar associations on significant bills, not only this one. And there is a steering committee which was appointed by Cabinet with regards to the bill, which was established for the purpose of advising Cabinet. And amazingly, both the Grenada Bar Association and that steering committee advised the government that the referendum should only focus on establishing the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice, as being the final court of appeal instead of the Privy Council. And this advice came about. The reason for this advice is that we should try and avoid as much as possible anything that would distract people from concentrating on the main item of the bill, to have the CCJ as a final court of appeal instead of the Privy Council. And then they made allowance for changing the name of the court from the Supreme Court of Grenada and the West Indies Associated States to the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. So this was the first opportunity that Grenadians would have to change the name. All other countries in the OACS call the court the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. But we, with our constitution, we never had the opportunity to change the name, because during the 1979-83 period, Grenada was out of that court system, the OACS court system, and we didn't have the opportunity to change at that time.
You mentioned the steering committee.
Yes.
Is it similar to what we had called CRAC? And if so, who are the members?
Okay. The steering committee was a committee, or is a committee, established by Cabinet for the purpose of coming up with preliminary ideas with regards to how government should undertake the promotion of the bill, the Caribbean Code of Justice bill. And the members of the steering committee are myself as chairman, you have Dr. Francis Alexis, you have Mr. Ruggles Ferguson, you have Senator Simon Steele, you have Miss Michelle Steele, and Mr. Robert Branch.
So this time around, it is smaller than what was in the original.
The steering committee is just a committee for the time being. It is hoped that other non-governmental organizations will be invited to submit nominees to a broader committee for the promotion of the bill. Terms of reference will be drawn up, and invitations will be sent out to non-governmental organizations and a broader committee will be formed. And it could be called the CCJ Advisory Committee.
That committee would be responsible for educational awareness specifically?
That committee would be responsible. It is proposed, because I have said terms of reference have to be established, that it is proposed that that committee would give advice with regards to how the bill should be promoted. But the steering committee, no, the membership of the steering committee and maybe another member or two may be added to that steering committee to form an operations committee. So that operations committee would be involved in actually promoting the advice of the broader committee. So that is a proposal.
Okay.
And that has to be firmly established.
Right. My other question has to do, looking at the news last night, I saw stories of the matter involving the High Court and the allegation that it is now affected by radiation from an antenna there. What is the present status of the High Court, and where are they being located to? And will government be taking any investigative, in-depth research to confirm what really caused that?
What really caused what?
The radiation.
Oh, okay. Okay, sometime last week, what's the name of that board? The quality control people, they established that there is some form of radiation in the building.
That's the Bureau of Standards?
Bureau of Standards. And besides that, there were other factors affecting the air quality in the building. As a consequence of that report, a decision has been taken to close operations of the courts for the week, and in the meantime to look at other accommodation to have the courts sit for a short period, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or whatever, until a final determination is made with regards to where the courts will sit eventually. But in the meantime, that is just a short-term measure. In the meantime, there is an active project in mind with regards to a particular building, and I don't think it's wise for me to call it now because no firm arrangement has been made. But a particular building has been identified with regards to housing all the courts. That's for the medium term, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but ultimately, government has a long-term plan with regards to establishing a legal complex to house courts and the registry and so forth. So that's a long-term plan.
Let me just get for clarity. You said they suspended the court this week? Court is suspended this week, is operations.
Yes, that's the...
And they would resume work where? In a temporary building or the same building?
The idea is to suspend the courts for this week preliminarily. In the meantime, a search is being made for housing the courts, and once that accommodation is identified, the court will move to that new location.
Okay.
And in the meantime, further determinations would be made with regards to what would be done about the building on the Lime building. We call it the Lime building on the Carenage.
Just for further clarity, when that building, was it purchased by government?
That building
or it was
has not been purchased. There is an agreement for a lease. There is no executed document with respect to that building.
So his government has a lease agreement with the previous
There's a
owners?
lease agreement, an agreement for a lease concerning that building with cable and wireless.
Thank you.
Good morning. Can you tell me how long that lease was for? How many years?
There is no definitive period with regards to that because at the time that the agreement was made, they were contemplating other factors, so there's no definitive time. So I would say it's at least from year to year. Normally, when you don't have a specific period with regards to agreements for lease, it is at least from year to year.
Okay. I have one question. Oh, let me just get my thoughts in order. I'm sorry, the question slipped me. Go ahead.
Yeah, for your thoughts. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My question to you is based on a recent judgment that was passed by Davison Kelvin Batiste as it relates to the Attorney General of Grenada and the financial investment and consultancy services at a St. Lucia-based company. And that appeal was denied. It was dismissed, more so, with an agreement that the government to be awarded 80% of the cost within a 21-day period. Have any agreement been reached between both parties?
No, I can't speak too much with regards to that at the moment.
Okay. Another of my question is based on the understanding that Mr. Dwight Horsford has been nominated for the post of High Court Judge. Can you perhaps confirm or deny if this is the case?
Well, nominated. I know that he is interested in being a High Court judge, and the process is in the initial stages.
Okay, thank you much. I don't know if you can speak to Barbados. You know that the election, I think, is tomorrow, and with the DMP party planning to pull out of the CCJ, if not re-elected, and Grenada planning to become a full member, what implications can you say this is likely to have on Grenada?
Yeah, well, I think it's a blessing in disguise that the present Prime Minister is saying that he's going to pull out because of a decision against him. Because people were saying that the CCJ might be a political institution and they might bend towards the preference of prime ministers and so forth. But here we have an entirely different situation. Here we have a situation where Professor Eddie Ventus, wanted to be registered to vote at the elections in Barbados. And he was denied together with other Commonwealth citizens. He's a Commonwealth citizen. And according to the law, he was entitled to vote according to what the High Court says and the Court of Appeal says. He was entitled to be registered to vote. He was denied registration. So he took the matter to the CCJ. As a matter of fact, it emphasizes too the swiftness of the CCJ, because he made an application to the CCJ on the Friday, and by the Sunday, the CCJ came up with a decision that he should be registered to vote. That is why the present Prime Minister of Barbados said, indicated that he's minded to come out of the CCJ. But then he has to win first.
Appreciate your answers.
I believe that the Court of Appeal is supposed to sit in Grenada sometime soon. The temporary accommodations that you spoke about for the sitting of the High Court, would that facilitate the sitting of the Court of Appeal?
Yeah, arrangements are being made for the Court of Appeal to sit in Grenada by the end of the month.
By the end of the month. Okay. My question, there are complaints from lawyers and, lawyers that there is a delay in service because of government's failure to provide sufficient, how do you call them, stenographers to bring the proper documents to the Court of Appeal. Can you give me a response to that? Is it that we only have one stenographer to prepare documents for the Court of Appeal?
I know that has been a concern, and that concern is being addressed at the moment.
Addressed in what form?
To get more stenographers.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
That's it. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure. Huh? Well, as she said stenography, I said the same thing, but not really that. It's a special.
This year promises to be a spectacular affair as beauties of the Caribbean compete on one stage for the title of Miss Caribbean United. Come see contestants from the islands of Trinidad, St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Nevis, St. Vincent, Anguilla, Dominica, Venezuela, Antigua, Dominican Republic, Margarita, Barbados, and host country Grenada. It's the 2018 Miss Caribbean United pageant, Saturday, June 2nd at the Spice Basket, uniting the Caribbean through beauty.
All right, folks, you've just had the post-cabinet press briefing. First up to bat, you had the minister in the Ministry of Climate Change, the Environment, Information, disaster management, etc., etc. There's a lot of things inside there. There's a new ministry, a lot of things inside there.
Yeah, three ministers there.
So we had a senator, the Honorable Winston Garraway, and he was speaking about the school program, the school assistance program. Yeah, the school book and uniform assistance program. Well, the school uniform assistance program, right? Yeah, so he was speaking about that. So that program is has been officially launched. So I believe that they're registering people and so on and so on for that right now. Yeah, so the normal people who does, link up, right? Nice. And also
he spoke about the Sargassum seaweed, the relief.
The continuing, the continuing efforts to battle against the effects of the Sargassum. It's a difficult issue to deal with, because it is not an issue that is locally made. That one is not everything I have is locally made. Nah, that's not the case with that one.
Yeah, that is way above our pay grade, as they say.
That's a high way above our pay grade. All right. Let's say a special good morning to those of you on the live. Shauna, Hannah.
Good morning.
Hey, Garfield. Nice, yeah. Garfield's Bar. You ever pass on in Garfield's Bar, man?
No.
You know you're missing out on, man. Down in Container Park, that's just before SGU. You take a little left, right after you pass, like, where Boardroom and them is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next entrance on your left, and you head inside there. That's the Container. A lot of people don't know Container Park, but you get down to Container Park, and you could have a nice, relaxing drink. Nice sea breeze hitting you there, everything, you know, a nice, relaxing place. Yeah? So, Matthew, Chris, good morning to all of you. Kenrick, I'm seeing Natalia. Natalia, how is mommy?
Yes,
tell her we said hello, and we hope everything is okay. All right? Nice. Yeah, so mommy, I know she's listening most likely. And we'll say a very special good morning to you. Senator Cadet, good morning, bro. Hope they're having a wonderful one. Zaka and Ezra and Bala. Morning, Bala. Yes, indeed. Mary, Veronica, Terry, me and you go fall out. All right. Yeah, Yolanda, Kellon, Veronica, Brenz, morning. Yeah, Kimron. Good morning to each and every one of you. And we hope that you all are having a fabulous, wonderful morning this morning.
Yep. Oh, and to all those of you out there in Trinidad and Tobago, Toronto, you know, United States, wherever you are on the live, good morning to you.
Yeah. Good morning to the Honorable Delma Thomas.
Yes.
We hope that you're having a fabulous day today. Yes, Desmond is listening in from Trinidad and in from Toronto, Ontario. We have Veronica. Yes, so people all over listening to the program. Yes, indeed. Hey, before we go any further, well, let's finish on the post-cabinet press briefing first. You also had the Attorney General, Sir Lawrence Joseph, and he was speaking about the rehabilitation program. They have a new board for the rehabilitation program. I heard the name Norman Gilbert there, and Ms. Pascal, one or two other people there on that board.
Alfred Pear.
Yeah.
Sergeant Alfred Pear, I should say.
Very competent people. I must say so. A very competent team. I have all confidence in them that they'll do a wonderful job. But also mentioning the enforcement now of that issue with individuals who have had cases on the books. In other words, a 14 or 15-year-old guy is passing through St. George as a school child, or even not as a school child, might be around carnival time or something, and gets into a fight with someone else and is arrested and charged. And that remains on that person's record. So now, that person who is now 24 years old, or that person who is now 34 years old, is applying for a job in the hotel sector, and when they have to bring in a police record, and they bring in that police record, there it says that they were arrested and charged for fighting, so that they are a violent person.
20 years ago.
That person may be even a pastor in the church by that point in time, never involved in anything negative again for the rest of their life. But there on the record, the only thing that they ever were arrested for is still... Oh, Donick, now you know where Container Park is. So just go there and you will find Garfield's. Yeah. Tell Garfield I send you. Nice. You okay? You'll see. Just tell him I send you. Right? No, I ain't say leave a bill there for me, you know. Pay your bill. But just say I send you. All right?
Donick, we got to go there together, girl. We got to go there together. We go put the bill on him. Call me, Donick, and, you know, we organize.
Dana... watch when they come down there, Dana, my boy, watch when they come down. Nobody will even not no bill for me.
Oh gosh, Sheldon said us.
But yeah, I was saying you. So that person who may have 20, 30 years ago committed an offense, and that one offense, they still have it on their record. So sometimes they're applying for a job in the hotel industry. They can't get the job because they have a criminal record. Yeah. They apply for a job even at SGU, or they apply to Huggins or Hubbards or one of the bigger companies, and they ask for a police record. It may be just as a driver or something, but they ask for the police record. At the end of the day, you see Hannah jumping the thing too. Yeah. I'll come to all you on that just now. So they apply and they can't get through because of these simple things. Suppose it's somebody who back in 1984 was hanging on the block with about 5 guys. 2 of the fellas was smoking weed. The police arrest everybody and charge everybody for possession of drugs. Quite back in 1984. Yeah. Right? And that person is applying for a position now. And when they apply for that position, you have a criminal record for drug possession.
Yeah, that's a no-no right there.
You understand?
And those of them who want to travel.
Yeah.
You understand? And it's required a police record. And so and that will harm them.
Yeah. It's not like that you actually catch the person with 2 pounds of weed, marijuana, and weed, marijuana, and that sort of thing.
Just a spliff.
Yeah, you catch, and you didn't even catch them with the spliff, but they get charged.
Yeah, they get charged for it because they was in the company of others.
So now the legislation is being enforced that these individuals can make an application to have their records expunged. Yeah, so they can make an application to have their records expunged now. Yeah, to have their records expunged so that when they're applying for jobs and so it does not apply though. It does not apply to people who have committed certain categories of crime that carry a mandatory prison sentence of 5 years and above.
5 years and above, yeah.
So child molesters will not be included in that.
Rapists
shouldn't be alive anyway. But anyway, child molesters, sorry for saying that. But child molesters will not be included in this. They cannot apply to have their records wiped.
No.
If anything, what is going to be happening to those child molesters is you're going to be having the registry with all of them named.
Yeah, all over the place.
They ain't going to be getting off of that. Hannah, I cannot remember the cost. I listened over the press conference. I had some issues in listening to the press conference today. So I'll listen it over and we'll make sure that you all know the cost of it. But you must pay. And then after you pay, there's the process where they go over the thing and see if your records can be. It's not automatic that it will be. But it has to be going through a process. For instance, if you've committed that crime, let's say in 1996, and then again you committed the next one in 2000, and then you did it again in 2004, and then you have a case in 2008 for it, and you have a pending matter in 2012, even though you committed that first offense in 1996 and it may fall into the category of something under the 5 years, it will not be expunged because you've shown that you continue to live a life of crime, so you can't clean your record.
Your record is not clean. Waste of time.
Somebody with, let's say, I would say, for instance, some of the busmen. Yeah? The busmen who have had situations where they ended up having to spend short periods in prison. Yeah?
For either tickets or license or what the case may be.
So, in that case, those busmen should be able to have their records expunged. Yeah? Not necessarily because some of them, and yes, it's 2, 3 and that kind of thing. And some of it might just be for something like stopping with a stop, or something might be like for a seatbelt or so. So even though it's multiple in that case, you still take into consideration what type of crime it was. Yeah? So while yes, it was a crime and you have a busman, because you have some busmen now that they spend how much time in prison, they go up in prison and it's due to things that they do with the bus. They didn't bounce and kill anybody. They wasn't intoxicated or anything. They stop off at the stop. They get a ticket. They didn't pay the ticket. Tickets accumulate.
They get 21 days.
They get 21 days up on the hill. Right? So in those instances, persons would be able to apply and the consideration would be given to have their records expunged. Somebody who malicious wound, you take a cutlass and you well chop up a man. You wouldn't be able to apply under that. You've committed murder or attempted murder. You would not be able to apply. You could forget that. You wouldn't be able to get your records expunged.
And all these things in them.
You would not be able to have your records expunged for those sort of things. But for some of the more minor infractions, you cuss a too bad word in tongue, a policeman hear you, it was to his annoyance, because the crime is not cussing, the crime is to the annoyance of a police officer. So, So once the policeman goes to court and he says he heard so and so say so and he was annoyed, then at that point in time, you're arrested and you're charged and that kind of thing, you're fined. That could be removed off of your record.
And then you have some young persons who may involve in groups and so, and you have little altercation with others and so, and they fight, and sometimes you may have a weapon, maybe a cutlass or whatever, right? And it may just happen once with them 10, 15 years ago.
It's the severity to be judged.
Based on the severity of it, And so there are a number of things, and I'm advising, we're advising persons to pay attention, right, to those new initiatives bring forward by government and so, right, so that it can assist in and knowing and helping our young people, because there are a lot of young people out there who have been caught, right, in committing a particular offense a lot of years, and they are suffering for it all now.
I can tell you, and I'm not afraid to say it, that I know for a fact that the Honorable Peter David is one of the people that had a major input in making sure that this particular piece of legislation comes through.
Goes through, yes.
And I can say that because I remember a couple of years ago sitting and having a conversation with him in relation to this same activity, this same law that has now been passed. Because in his interaction in the courts, he's seen a lot of instances where you realize that, listen, he's really a good young fella. He's not a bad young fella. But circumstances and situation put him into a problem, and now he has a criminal record. And then afterwards, still interacting with those young people, you find situations you're trying to help them get a job. You're trying to get them out of that sort of lifestyle that they may have been in. And it's difficult because every time they go to get a criminal record and they present it now, there is this thing that just following them for the rest of their life. Just following them for the rest of their life. And so on.
We need to give our people second chances.
Yeah.
Once they deserve it. Give them second chances, especially our young people. Right? Look, there are a number of us who have made mistakes upon mistakes, and we will give them a chance, right, to get our life back together. Why not extend that to our young people? And the government has decided, look, we have to do this. The young people are our future, right? They may make a mistake. We all do, and we all make mistakes, right? We can do something about that to give them opportunities in the future.
Yeah, I fully endorse what not only what has been proposed, what was put together, and what was passed in Parliament last year, I believe it was passed in Parliament, so that these, especially these younger offenders and it is based as well on them not reoffending.
Yes, not repeat offenders.
Yes, so somebody who does something and then you realize 5 years, this guy never even get a traffic ticket. He never even, no problem at all with this person. For 5 years, for 10 years, for 15 years, never been involved in anything negative. A guy who was 15 years old, got involved in something negative, and is now 30 years old, and that thing that he did when he was 15 and not thinking is still following him around. It's unfair. It's unfair. He's never been involved in anything for 15 years, never been involved in any negative sort of thing. Positive, helping in the community, trying to work and take care of his family, and he has something following him. I fully endorse this.
It's not fair. It's not fair to continue to treat our people like that, our citizens. So things like initiatives like that, we have to give praise and so to that, and ensure that it will definitely bring benefits to our young people.
No, Hannah, it doesn't operate like that. It's not nobody in the force taking them off this. I think the committee that they spoke of there, I think that's part of the thing with the committee as well, that they would be looking at this list, if I remember correctly from what I was hearing this morning. So it's not the police and a good friend in the police go be able to just give them a clean thing. No. You have criminal records there, and it can be expunged, but it has to go through the committee. They have to make the payment, and it has to go to that stage. All right, folks, we're going to open the phone lines. It's 33 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. No, we do not have Shai in studio with us today.
Oh, so, I have Shiloh fever this morning.
We don't have Shai in studio
I was today, shivering. Good morning, Shiloh and a mom.
Yeah. But folks, remember, it's taking place this Saturday at the Anelli City Grenada Trade Center.
Not a Trade Center yet.
Yet at the Spice Basket, it is the Little Miss Grenada pageant, and we're looking forward to seeing all of you there. I definitely will be there.
Oh, I will be there.
Yeah, this one I make a solemn promise. I definitely,
myself
God's
and
willing,
Isaiah will be
inshallah,
there.
Will be there.
Yes, God's willing.
Sonia, you just reached, girl. What do Sonia? Sonia come out?
Sonia, I have something for you tomorrow, girl. Tomorrow, please the Lord.
Let me say good morning to Miss Camille. Good morning to you, Camille Teresa Scott.
Camille Teresa Scott.
Good morning to you, and we hope you're having a wonderful day, folks. Camille has water and different things selling. She has juice, she have little monster and thing. You find you feeling a little weak and tongue, pass by Miss Camille and buy a little thing to, straighten you out. You understand? If you're heading back, if she does a little tambran ball, she has a little cocoa ball, she has a little thing, you're getting that. If you want cosmetics, yeah, you want a little lipstick, you want a little thing for your face. I don't know what else called them thing. I doesn't use them.
She have all them for young children.
Check Miss Cammy, she had that.
She have bras for she see the big boobs women.
Yeah.
And so she have that, you know.
She have it if you have it big, she have it if you have it small.
If you have it small, she have it.
Nice.
Just
check Miss Cammy. Check out.
Those bus conductors and them, they want the money bag and think she have them day.
Yeah, man.
Right? Go and support
Pay
her.
your money and get her money back.
Yes. You understand?
Yeah, get a proper money bag now, man. And when Cammy get her money bag, get it with a lot of luck to her, man. That money bag always full.
Always full.
Get her money back
yeah. Right, I can.
Yeah, so she had them thing. And plus, sometimes she does have fruit, sometimes she have vegetables, she have all kind of thing. It's a one-stop shop. Check out.
One-stop shop.
Nice. Hey, Helen Marie have she mass band.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Elementra. Folks, check out Helen Marie.
Elementra.
She's at booth number 1 in the original NIS mall. When I say the original one, you know, like you come under the canopy there, the little thing there. Right. Yeah. So Helen Marie, right there. You're going to see the costumes on display. Yes, some lovely costumes, you know, man. Helen coming for them this year, you know. Take what I'm telling you. So Helen Marie, check her out. Yeah, she's got a wonderful presentation this year.
Class.
Also has a children's presentation. So you can check her out for the children's presentation, Candyland. So you can check out Helen Marie.
Candyland.
Yeah, 440-7377
and 347-329-3101.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Mango tomorrow.
Yeah, he's saying mango tomorrow. You know what else is tomorrow, man? Tomorrow is election day in Barbados, man. Yeah, man. Tomorrow is election day in Barbados.
What's up, man? You know, I'm going for my
Man, you don't try to talk like no Bajan, man. What you trying? What won't try with us, man?
But that election is an election to watch, eh? I mean, very interesting.
It's not an election to watch. I can tell you what the outcome gonna be.
Well, I don't know. Well, yeah, you have your opinion.
You want to make a bet?
Well, yeah, we can.
22-8.
22-8?
22-8.
Nah, he won't get you that.
If the government is that lucky. New Prime Minister by Friday.
So you think...
I ain't backing no horse. I just saying it as I see it.
Mia Motley is a favorite.
Mia gonna win. Yeah. You know, usually I doesn't say. But I will say it today. Mia gonna win.
I mean, I would like to see her get an opportunity.
22-8. 21-9. That's my estimation. Yes, somewhere around that region.
But it's a very heated
The opposition
election.
will be taking over 20 seats.
Yeah. Very heated election, and we wish the people of Barbados all the best, right?
All my cousins in Barbados.
Yeah, in the election process and
Lord,
so.
I miss our call.
We have had ours 15-0. Yes, I have to
register.
No, I ain't go get that. Right, you have to have a man like Dr. Mitchell in your camp.
We ain't giving that formula away.
And the supporting force to have that kind of election results.
Although
only in Grenada.
There has been, and this is interesting though, there has been a statement by the present Prime Minister of Barbados.
Yes.
That's Prime Minister Frundell Stewart. We'll come back to that. We have a call online.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Okay. Song like a Camido, but
yeah, song as a terminal. Good morning. Oh boy, yeah. The present Prime Minister of Barbados has said that should his DLP administration be returned, that they are going to remove themselves from the CCJ. We'll have a discussion. We'll have a discussion on that shortly.
He lose already.
Good morning.
Hi, morning, Sheldon and Sheldon Devon Romain.
Morning, Carrie.
Thank you very much for the advertisement. But I have tomatoes, so tell them to come down and get a nice tomatoes.
How much pong?
And that tomato come out in Chantinel and that gugu.
Now you're talking.
Come and get.
Now you're talking original organic.
I want to say good morning to all my Grenadian family and friends.
How much pong for
and
tomato?
is here. Good morning,
yes,
Tim.
Depot. Good morning. I know I'm back. Yeah, he's back
here.
They
came back for funeral.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yes.
We'll sing to come
and
back.
And everybody, good morning, Patricia, Matthew in Canada, and my Mr. Watson, his wife, and Jingo, and everybody in New York. Good morning. It's beautiful in Grenada today.
Yes, a beautiful day.
And I have mambal and cocoa and tomatoes and lettuce.
Yeah, lettuce too. Nice.
Yes.
All right.
Good morning to everybody.
I want some tomato,
And
Cammy.
it's not so bad. Things not so bad.
Cammy, how the tomato selling? I want some.
You got 2 pounds for $5.
All right, well, save 2 pounds for me.
Right. You have them half green.
Nice.
So you go take it time and right.
You're right.
Save a 2 pounds for me.
Mr. Scott.
Yes, my love.
Everybody, well, it must be Mr. David, you know. You are going on now. And I want to advise the people in Grenada, Caracas, City Martin. You all be careful. Love your children.
Yes.
Love your kids. Don't push them away, because when you push them away as mothers and fathers, they just end up going and get themselves in gangs as a family. Don't push them away. Keep them tranquil. Call them in the morning. Whatever you have, give them. All right. I will just tell you advice to the people.
Song advice.
Keep your children close to you. All right. And you all have a blessed day.
All right, Cammy.
And I have sales. Somebody come, you must get something for $5.
Okay.
You must get something. And thank you, Mr. Scott, again, for the little advertisement, because I need to pay my rent.
Okay, yes,
I
of course.
Drinks and all little things. You will get something for $5. If you have $2, you will get $2 for the tomatoes. And all my friends are away. Have a nice day.
All right, my love.
Bye-bye.
So we go talk.
Thank you very much.
All right. Hey, Oliana, I hear Cammy clear day today. You know, I hear Cammy clear day today. Nice. And we have a gentleman in the studio with us again. Yeah, we man come in the place. But I telling all you, Chris Desmond, what I mean 2010. I telling all you how the thing going. The thing going. Yeah, I tell you the thing either going 21-9 or 28 or 22-8. Tell you that's how you going. Tell you if you don't want to listen, too bad. But that's how you going. Good morning to you, Honorable Roland Bola.
Well, good morning again to you, Mr. Scott, and of course, your co-host, your technical operator, and your listening public. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be on air for 2 minutes again.
Well, man, you could take more than 2 if you want, but if it's 2 you want, no problem.
Yeah, I did promise you yesterday when I gave just a little sneak bit into the cricket that I will try to avail myself today after we had all the teams registered and we did the scheduling of matches. To just come back and let the people know.
Yes.
So where they can.
That's the Docks Trophy, yeah?
Yeah,
no,
the Docks
Challenge Trophy.
Yeah, it's a 20 over win ball competition, mixed teams, not man playing man and woman. It's mixed, men and women. There's certain regulations, like I said yesterday. Every team must register 15 players, of which 5 must be male over 35, 5 must be female over 35, and 5 must be younger people under the age of 35, and that will be of mixed sex. And as we say, male, female, transgender, put them in. Yes,
you come back with that transgender thing.
That's the way the world knows.
No discrimination.
I listened to a guy the other day. He said he went to on an airport and he only seen bathrooms marked male and female. He ain't seen none for him.
So you had to do it somewhere else.
You understand? So we had to cater. That's how the world is now. So fortunately for us, now we have all our 15 teams registered because it's constituency-based teams. Based on the announcement yesterday, we were prepared to start on the 26th of this month, which is Saturday coming. However, though, because there were a late registration of about 4 teams, and 1 or 2 little technical difficulties, we have to push it back by 1 week. So we are actually going to start now on the 2nd of June. Yesterday we had the deeps, and so we allowed the different constituencies to deep because we are putting you by numbers. 5 teams per zone, 3 zones. So you had 5 deeps. We saw number 5 as the unfortunate. And because you are unfortunate, you get a special pass.
Wow.
So in other words, what we have is that the person who got, or the constituency getting number 1, they would play team number 3. or the one who got number 3. And number 2 will play number 4. So what you would have is that in Zone 1, on the 2nd, which is the first Saturday in June, you'd have South St. George playing Tongue of St. George, and that game will be hosted by the Tongue. What we need to get from them by the end of today is where. Okay? Which field. So that by hopefully tomorrow, please God, and all of next week, Sheldon, you will have an opportunity to announce for us the exact field, right? But we know Tongue will be hosting. On that same afternoon, so there will be 2 games now instead of 1 in the zone, because we will have the same date as the 30th of June for the finals. All we're doing is starting 1 week later. So rather than having 1 game per zone, we now have 2. Okay. So the other game in that zone would be St. George Northwest playing St. George Southeast, and that game will be hosted by the Southeast.
So Northeast get a bye.
So Northeast is the one that got number 5, they get it bye. Then what you would have, the winners of those 2 games played on the 2nd will meet each other on Saturday the 9th of June. So we can't say who yet. It depends on who wins. So those 2 winners play each other, and then the following Saturday, which is the 16th of June, whoever wins that game on the 9th plays Northeast, which is number 5.
Number 5.
Yes, so Northeast just play 1 game. Remember, it's a knockout competition. Once you lose, you're out. So if all teams want to stay in, all teams have to win. I don't know how they're doing that, but all of them want to stay. And so it will be 2 for the other zones. So Zone 2, which is the St. Andrews and Fort St. Andrews and St. David's. Game number 1, St. Andrews Northeast versus St. David's, and that game will be hosted by St. Andrews Northeast. And then we have St. Andrews Southeast playing St. Andrews Southwest, game hosted by St. Andrews Southeast. Zone 3, and the number 5 there is St. Andrews Northwest, Sister Delma's constituency.
Wow.
So she plays the very last game. Yes?
Smallest of the lot.
Yeah. And it is the same format. 2 games on Saturday, June 2nd. The winners of those games, again, will play each other on the 9th, and whoever wins on the 9th then plays St. Andrews Northwest. And Zone 3, it will be game number 1, St. Patrick's West versus St. Mark's, hosted by St. Patrick's West. And game 2, St. John's versus St. Patrick's East, hosted by St. John's. Carriacou got the draw for number 5. Yeah, so they will just have 1 game at the end. Yes?
1 game at the end. So the transport, but it worked out all right, for the transportation in terms of moving Carriacou up and down,
Sheldon, you were present. You were one of the witnesses of the deep.
Yeah, I was going to pass the cup too. So.
Oh, you understand? So he wasn't involved. I don't know if he did something special to make sure Carriacou get number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, but I understand he talked to Miss Stewart.
Oh.
Hello. Miss Stewart is the captain. Honorable Kendra Mathurin Stewart is the captain of a team, and she has been practicing. And plus,
not only that, she
high score recently in one of them competitions.
She's involved in a competition now.
Yeah, and she high score.
She finally make runs.
What?
I was in Carriacou not too long ago. No, but I told her I was there. I understand that her team was winning, but she wasn't scoring.
Kendra, you hear him?
Leadership.
Him, man.
I mean, she just provided good leadership.
Yes, good leadership.
That's what it
She high score during earlier in this month or late last month. She high score in one of the
score. Yeah. Her high score, not the high score on the team.
The highest score. In the match.
That's good. Wow. Congratulations, my minister.
Well, yeah, congratulations in place.
You are among my favorites.
I find out they're trying to rough Kendra. I ain't doing that at all.
So that's how it goes now. So we will be able to give you by tomorrow, God's willing, the actual location in the various constituencies where the first games will be played.
Great.
And so we're asking, the members of the party in the various constituencies to go support your team. Your reps will be there. In fact, in most of those teams, the reps will be participating. It will be a lot of fun. It's a social afternoon.
So we letting Doc take part? In Doc's Cup?
In Doc's Cup.
Boy, I don't
You can't
know,
keep the man away from his own thing. I mean,
but carry his name.
That is not no Doc. You don't know no Doc.
PM go vex with me, but I ain't feel PM should play.
Well, we'd have to bring in legal advice on this one.
The man is a cricketer.
I don't want to be sued at the end of the day.
Yeah, the man is a cricketer.
You could call Senator Kim George. You could call Senator Katisha Williams.
I will.
You could call Honorable Elvin Nimrod. You could call Honorable Kindra Matthew and Stewart. You could call Honorable Peter David. You have real legal representation.
Yeah. The Attorney General, Dr. Sir Lawrence Joseph.
Mr. Dwight Hosford. Real lawyers we could call on.
I need to clarify this thing legally.
I could speak to Dr. Alexis. I'm a constitutional lawyer.
Doc have a legal team lined up in case all they don't want him playing.
Okay.
Don't go vex with me. Doc shouldn't play.
No, I support him.
Well, remember there are rules, eh? The rule is that on the day of the game, your starting 11 must consist of 4 ladies.
Okay.
You must have 4 ladies, right? Then you have each player, the 11 players, everyone must bowl an over in the 20 overs.
Wow.
But then you allow the rest of the overs to be...
Again.
So you have 9 overs after that to split up, but none of your players can bowl more than 3.
Okay.
Right? So if Sheldon is your best bowler, you can only bowl 3.
Doc out Lara the last time.
A lot of people out Lara, they still come back and score over 400.
The man is a professional. That is unfair.
I want to be batting when Honorable Delma bowling.
Well, so, I mean, what we really want is a lot of excitement. We're doing it for socialization. We want to create opportunities and a platform where our reps can, get a chance to rub shoulders with, the ordinary folks of the constituency and to meet each other. We want to do it for team building purposes, for unification, where one team plays each other. Of course, you want to win, but there would be a lot of fun. Imagine somebody who didn't play cricket for the last 10 years and they're trying to bowl over. That over might consist of 12 deliveries. You never know. So much wides and no balls. But all of that comes with the fun that we want to create and the excitement, We want to use it as an opportunity to bridge that widening gap between our seniors and our youths, because that's why we mandate that there must be senior people on the team and there must be young people.
I see somebody call. Let's try the phone line and see. Probably they have a question to ask.
Good morning and welcome.
Hello, my brother.
Good morning.
Brother Sheldon, like you block me out, man.
No, me ain't block you, man. How I block you?
Huh?
How I block you?
Well, for the longest while I've been calling the cell and I wasn't getting through.
Nah, you ain't getting through.
I happened to use another line.
Because we talking, so go right ahead, man.
Yeah, man. What's up? Yeah, I've been a little problem, Brother Sheldon. As you know,
hold on, you was listening to the program?
No.
That is why you're calling and you tell me I'm blocking you out. We're talking about the cricket competition. And you call me on something else. You see, because you're not listening to the program and you're calling. Then you're accusing me.
Okay.
So take it back.
Sorry.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, as I was saying, I've been a little problem with Sheldon. As you know, we have this problem with this seaweed. We have a lot of that in the St. Andrews area.
Okay.
And at present, there is a couple. I don't know if it's two or three contractors that are giving the responsibility to move it. But what I noticed, for that matter, I'm in Maki at this present time, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the trucks and things going up. Most of the trucks is half load, with a Sheldon. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to stretch it out, but I mean, if you're giving a contract, let the tractor full the truck at the seaweed, and that is a great concern. I know that will suck the coppers of the government, and this is something that they need to work on. The people and them they give the contract, make sure that they fool the truck with the seaweed. Okay, my brother Sheldon?
No problem, my brother.
Yeah, brother Sheldon.
All right, so you're going to pass it on to the ministry.
Yeah,
all right.
Thanks.
I think the Ministry of Agriculture is who might be Agriculture and Environment.
Agriculture, okay.
And Environment. And
Agri is one and the environment is the next, eh?
Yeah.
Environment. We'll try the both of them.
Try the both of them. I agree that trucks must carry the full capacity, but we don't want to overload them at the same time to speed it all over the place.
And then it's already smelly. So imagine these smelly trucks overloaded passing with it.
I mean, I don't know what the caller say because he lives in the area. I don't, but It's time that we start as Grenadians to recognize that we must give fair labor for what we expect in return. You know? I mean, only Sunday, my parish priest and I after church had a little conversation, and he was saying to me, "You must come see me, because if there are any issues, anything you think that I need to know, come and tell me." And I plan to go see him pretty soon. And one of the things I want to say to him is that in his preaching, in his deliverance of the message, and while he's speaking about the Bible and what God says and what some of the prophets of old say, I want him to inject in his message that some of us who labor for other people, whether we are public servants or not, and we want to go to work at 10 o'clock in the day and leave at 2, that is stealing. And the Bible speaks about that. And we have to make our people understand it's not just when a man breaks into a next man's home or goes into a land that is stealing. We do a lot of things as Christian people in this country that if God was to work this out again, and he knows, I mean, a lot of us would have to hide from him. Probably me too. I'm not saying that I don't have my faults, but I try to be reasonable. And I'm just saying, based on what the caller had said, that it is time that all of us look within. We all have a conscience. Let's look. Let's ask ourselves, boy. When I should make 5 trips, and because I stretch it, as you say, I bring half load all the time, I make 10 trips. Who am I taking advantage of? Our own brothers and sisters.
Basically, yourself too as a Grenadian. You know?
Of course, our teacher used to tell us, "Why thief you won't spare tire?"
Why? Why
it's yours.
Folks, we have a caller holding on the line. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Morning.
And how are you?
Quite fine.
I'm just trying to share a suggestion in concerning the weed. Because what I'm saying is that you can monitor when the weed comes through. Which is in the next year, the same season. So it is believed that it is very fertile for the soil. So I'm suggesting that maybe farmers could capitalize on that by preparing the land beforehand, plowing your land beforehand, and when the weeds start coming, you pick it up before it gets stings and put it in that spot, in that particular plowed land, so that it can break down, decompose, and start fertilizing, and then you don't have to go and interfere with it when it is stinking. You understand? When it's fermented and so on. So in the raw state, you take it and apply it to that prepared ground and allow it to decompose. So when this planting season come around, it is also there because I understand it is very fertile. Okay?
Okay, my brother.
All right.
Thank you. Yes, indeed.
One word on that. Oh, sorry. One word on that, Sheldon. It is the belief of a lot of us. As a farmer myself, I have transported from the beach into the land, but we do not know yet that any sort of research has gone into it. I believe personally that it's good, but I don't know if it's justifiable for you as an announcer to advise people to bring it into the land.
I know for sure as a chemistry person that it contains a lot of salt, which is not good. In that case, it needs to be bleached and leached before you could use it properly for planting. So it can't just put into the land and then you plant on it afterwards. And then it's carrying a lot of sand and so with it as well. So there has to be a process before it is usable as fertilizer. So you must bleach it.
Last year when I had a chat with a St. Lucian agronomist, came down to assist the Ministry of Agriculture, and what he was saying that there's very good use in it, but you have to do it properly. Like you dig a hole and sow and put it
like a compost.
Compost it with other grass and leave it for anywhere between 6 to 8 months. And it does 2 basic things in your land. It helps fertilize, and one other thing, it helps keep away ants, a lot of the ants within your land and so.
You really want to keep away ants?
Well,
ants are the part they play in the ecosystem as well.
But if you have too much, the different types of ants on a particular plot, you'll end up destroying most of them.
I just think the research must be done and
has to be done. Yes.
So the cricket is on.
Yes,
it's on.
We'll have the list of the exact locations that the matches will be taking place by tomorrow. So we have a week that we could put it out, and then starting next week Saturday, the matches will be taking place.
Definitely so.
And Karaku,
and Doc, don't let them tell you to stay away. Don't let them tell you to stay away, Doc.
I find too early against me on that.
No. I am not against it. All I have said is that I will seek legal advice. I'm neither with you nor against you. I'm just trying to be safe.
Only don't want a man to lead his own team.
One man here is advocating that Doc should play. You're saying that Doc shouldn't play. It's his cup. It's his challenge trophy. All I'm saying is that let me get advice legally so, and then I can give a word after that.
That is like T. Albert Marisho going after the T. Albert Marisho Cup.
But the man is the head of a constituency. That's discrimination.
I don't find it fair.
All right.
Good arguments for the court. Anyway, gentlemen, thanks for the little time to just throw that out, and we'll provide the relevant information so that as of tomorrow, God's willing, you all can continue to throw it off.
No problem.
But one little thing, Sheldon, just as a reminder, while I'm on air, remember World Environmental Day is June 5th, and that spearheaded by the NNP Youth Arm. We're doing this cleanup. We have already registered with the UN. This year, they are trying to do a lot with plastics, based on all that the research is showing. Our oceans are heavily polluted with plastics. You know, we use so much. As a matter of fact, the research has shown that in any 1 year, over 500 million plastic bottles are utilized in 1 year, in every year. Over 500 million bottles, and more than 60% of that ends up in the ocean. The report says that if it continues that way, by 2050, the oceans of the world will be containing, in terms of plastic, twice time that of living
organism. So 2 times more plastic than fish?
Than fish.
Minister Abola, we nearly finished. You ain't not go yet. We have our overseas call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I would like to, this is a different subject from what you're on right now, but I would like to congratulate the Immigration Department in Grenada for being very efficient. I called last week about a passport application that I put in here in Brooklyn, New York. It took a few days to get down there, but when I called, you suggested that I call the Immigration Department. And by the time I had called, it was ready. I mean, please give my what's the word? Congratulations to the efficiency that they do these things at. I have another citizenship in Europe, and I've waited 4 or 5 weeks to get a passport. And I am very, very, very impressed.
So by the time you called, it was ready?
Grenadians out here who are so negative about everything Grenada. Well, this is one Grenadian who is saying, kudos to the Immigration Department for being effective, as even more effective than highly developed countries. Thank you very much.
All right, brother.
Thank you too, caller. We welcome that. Just a word on that. We have cutting-edge technology now, and as you may well know, in cases of emergency, you can have your passport,
36 hours.
Yeah, in 24 hours now. In 24 hours, you can get it now. Yeah? Generally 36 hours, but they can have it done in 24 hours, and that's good.
Effective
So yeah, as I was saying, led by the youth arm of the party, we have registered with the UN for World Environmental Day, which is celebrated on June 5th. But the weekend prior to that, we are going to be doing some cleanup on our beaches. That's Sunday, June 3rd. We have 2 areas, one in St. George's, the back of the bus terminus, going right back up to the National Stadium. We'll be providing gloves and masks and the garbage bags and so. And we're asking every constituency, at least 7 constituencies from St. Mark's, down St. Mark's, St. John's, and the 5 constituencies in St. George's. We're starting at about 6 o'clock. Everybody won't be there that time, but those who can make it early, they come. We want to have about 3 hours work. So some can come 6 and probably leave at 7. Some can come 6:30, leave at 8, 7, leave at 9. But about 3 hours doing the cleanup and bagging this garbage. And the other site is from the Mangrove Telescope Beach, down into Grenville and the Long Wall.
And the Long Wall.
Right,
Yes,
and then we have the 2 St. Patrick's constituency, the 4 St. Andrews and St. David doing that. The same day, the same time, 6 o'clock. So I just want you, Sheldon, if you remember about you and
continue to put it out.
Continue to put it out, right?
All right, sir.
We're there on the 3rd, we're doing that. And then there are several other initiatives as they come on. We'll give you information, not forgetting church service on the 24th and General Council in Hermitage Government, church service at Tivoli RC, 9:30 in the morning, celebrating the first.
We can tell you when the convention is, if you look. Other people can't call a convention.
They can't call
tell you
a
when the convention is.
They stick in.
A lot of things. Tell you the date for the launch of our junior youth tell you the date for our all-day fair, tell you the date for in November for
we have a lot.
Plenty things. Plenty things well planned. So again, thanks. You have been the voice of the New National Party to the ears of many people, and in some ways to the government too, because the immigration department falls directly on the government, and you have assisted people in getting their information. And
we're hoping to have some members of the Royal Grenada Police Force passing by tomorrow. They have their King and Queen show, Ecstatic. I can't remember ecstatic number. What do you? I think it's 11, 8, somewhere anyway. But ecstatic.
It's police, men and women going.
They have their Queen show.
They're going on,
so some of them should be visiting us tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe you should attempt if you can get some people from immigration as well, because they are.
They were here last week.
They were.
They were here last week. You was out. That's why you missed it. You weren't up.
Sorry.
They were here. In fact, they were here last. Yeah, because the last caller that called, he called during the program. He had called because he had applied for his passport, notwithstanding he didn't know yet that there was the new type of passport that would be offered as of the end of July. So he had applied, and when he heard, he called and asked if he could place a hold on his application. He was told yes, but by the time he called, and he had said that he went the day before? The day before. He had went to the embassy, the consulate, and sent his information down. And by the time he called, passport was ready. Passport was ready.
Efficiency.
Yeah, that's
if we can do more of that in more departments in government,
would be wonderful. Would be so wonderful.
Definitely.
Would be so wonderful.
So I think we should take an example from the people in immigration.
Yes, indeed.
Kudos to them.
Folks, that's all the time we have today. We'd like to thank the Honorable Roland Bowler for gracing the studio with his presence, and feel free to come in anytime. The door always open.
Yeah, he's not a Shiloh, He's not a Shiloh. But,
he's not Shiloh.
No, he's not Shiloh.
Yeah, he's not Shiloh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's definitely there, close by. So
close
nice.
by.
Right.
Yeah.
Folks, that's all the time we have for today. It's been wonderful being here. Remember, this weekend, it's going to be the Little Miss Grenada pageant. Get your tickets. All right. Yeah, what's the place in? Raps. They could get it at Raps. They could get it at York Sneaker. You could get it from, you could check.
Optical.
Yeah, you could even check 97.5 and so. You could check with Superstar. And just check with them. You won't get it. If you see Shiloh, you can check Shiloh too.
Check Shiloh.
Yeah, folks, that's
Shiloh
all the time.
is our
the future Prime Minister.
Future Prime
Minister. Yes. It's going to be interesting when we put in place that youth parliament to see people like Shiloh.
Man.
And we're not talking about the youth parliament we talk about a full proper youth parliament. It's interesting.
Definitely.
Folks, that's all the time we have for today. It's been wonderful being here, and whatever you say, whatever you do it safe and secure. We want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
And we are out of here. Let me go out like that, Devon.
Inmates at Her Majesty's Prison is finding hope behind bars as they are learning valuable skills and receiving training that will equip them to live productive lives when reintegrated into society. All this in an effort by the authorities to reduce incidences of repeat offenders. Wendy Edmond has more.
As an inmate here, I have learned quite a lot. I've seen things that one would have not really able to decipher outside of the prison. I think generally prisoners, they spend the time, and some of them are well rehabilitated while others may not be inclined to do so, because there are other programs need to be put in place, and so in terms of avoiding that kind of behavioral pattern and so to repeat their time in the prison, you know. But for the internally, the prison itself, I would say that they have some good programs. I think management is striving for betterment, and it's, you know, it's tough. It's not easy to run a prison.
There are a lot of different things you can do here, like we will be able to work the oven, you know, mix flour, you know, and it could help you, like when you go outside, to be on a more positive side of life, to get a work, you know, so you could open your own little business or so for yourself, you know, and encourage others to see what you have done in prison. Okay, they could take your part and follow it and stay outside and be a very good citizen of Grenada, you know, and empower other people to do good.
The rehabilitation program has been benefiting me in ways that helping me prepare myself for when I re-enter society, which is pretty soon. My time here has, I say, it's been well spent, because the whole of Grenada know what I'm here for, and the idea is so when I go back out in society to live a productive life, look after my family and myself, and do my best not to ever come back in this place again, because being in prison has certainly changed my life in ways that it's hard to explain, but I know for myself I have made changes. Other officers here could attest to that. The type of person that I have come here as, there's a complete turnaround in my life. Rehabilitation program in jail may not be as much as we like, but as an individual, I'm self-motivated. So whatever little rehabilitation program there is, I try my best to fit in myself to take full advantage of it.
The voices of inmates at Her Majesty's Prison who is finding hope behind bars. Life can hit you several blows at once, which can cause you to lose self-control and end up in conflict with the law. When this happens, the law takes its course and you run the risk of going to prison. But if you're serious about improving who you are and finding better ways to respond to your problems, rehabilitation behind the bars can be a first step to empowering you and refocusing your life ahead of re-entering the real world. At the Richmond Hill Prison, inmates are given an opportunity to correct their wrongs by building better selves. The facility now offers several skills training and academic programs, as well as rehabilitation sessions, all for the sole reason of ensuring they are not repeat offenders.
The academic and the skills training, the CXC, the school leaving, and the Project Reach. Project Reach is a skills training program that we have in conjunction with the Ministry of Youth. And some of the inmates, they receive their CVQs in small engine repairs, poultry, rearing, electrical installation, and small engine. Yes, those are the areas. Because part of what we are interested in is when inmates come here, is for them to end up leaving here with a skill. And that's what we are doing, because many times when they leave with a skill, based on our own experience, we realize that they do not come back.
While these programs seek to enhance the well-being of the inmates, it also serves as an income generator for the operations of the facility. Poultry farming, crop cultivation, both at the prison and the Mardi Gras farms, electrical installation, building construction, and the bakery serves as the key areas of income generation. Alistair Stanislaus, an inmate in charge of the poultry farm, gave us an inside look of the farm.
I've been on the farm for the last 5 years, working along with Mr. Pierre and the other officer who used to be here before, Mr. Bruffett. When I came, they used to do the poultry production was a bit less, but since I came out on the farm, I mean, with my expertise, they have decided to increase their production, which is pretty good, because now the prison is producing a lot of eggs and a lot of broiler meat what we used to consume on the inside of the prison. Currently, the capacity of birds we have at the prison, the layers, we have 2,500, and the broilers, we presently have 1,200. We have a capacity for 5,000 layers and 3,000 broilers, which I would still love to see the prison increase more than that, because they have the labor force. So if you have the labor force, you might as well invest and have the prison producing a lot more chickens for government institution, especially school feeding program, and start doing mass production, because mass production would always bring down the cost of what comes out in the end.
The bakery industry is said to be the highest revenue income earner at the facility.
The bakery open at least 3:30 every morning, and we have approximately 18 inmates that work in the bakery. We begin by baking the bread. In fact, we use the mixer, and that mixer is basically a very old mixer. So we use that mixer for mixing the dough. After mixing the dough now, we weigh the dough based on the type of bread that we are making. After we weigh out all our dough, we roll the bread and so on, we put it to rise, and after rising and so on, we put it into the oven. Well, basically the timing of the oven is what type of bread we want to make.
Based on what you do here and the entire production, do you see inmates taking this out to their career after coming from here?
Of course, because we have inmates that left the prison, and when they went out, they work in other bakery, and some of them open their own business.
The government, through its Youth Development Program and the Ministry of Education, plays an integral role in the implementation of these programs and recently conducted a graduation ceremony where 21 inmates received a certification from the National Training Agency and CXC O-level passes. Principal at the institution, Leon Cornwall, says no one inmate should leave the prison walls without achieving any form of education.
In the academic stream, the program caters for inmates at 3 different levels of academic development, namely basic literacy and numeracy, school leaving, and the CXC. In our efforts to elevate the academic level of the inmates, we have been greatly assisted by 2 ministries, namely the Ministry of Education, in particular the Examinations Unit and the School Supplies Unit. And secondly, the Ministry of Youth in providing us with 4 Imani teachers during the period under review.
Superintendent Rupert Nichols at Her Majesty's Prison says it is important that the public is educated as to the operations at the facility since it alleviates incidences of repeat offenders.
The population is reached the lowest ever in 4 years, and it came down to 410. The highest population being 523 in 2014. So as Mr. Stroud pointed out, the rehabilitation program, especially the skills component, is very, very good for the prison. And as was asked, the questioner was asked whether it is mandatory or the inmates would have to volunteer. In the past, we had inmates volunteering, but because we see the success of the program that is being run, both academically and on the skill component, we have plans to make it mandatory that when inmates enter the institution, they are assessed and placed in the area that we see that they could help them, make them better individuals to fit back into society.
Social worker at the Richmond Hill Prison, Christopher Stroud, believes that the programs are assisting in the reformation of these offenders. He indicated that there has been a decline in the population there.
And what we find is that most of the inmates who are involved in these programs, they do not return. So whereas in the general population, persons who are not involved in the program, any other programs at all, about 75% of them return. Whereas those who have received the skills and involved in other aspects of the components of the rehab program, about maybe 20% of them return.
With every correctional facility comes the issue of maximum security. At the Richmond Hill Prison, a new upgraded security system has been installed.
Anyone entering the prison must enter the security building. Whether by officers or inmates alike, they all have to enter here. Now, we have 3 different security checks here. We have the X-ray machine, whereby the personal effects will pass through the X-ray room, will be X-rayed. And we also have the walk-through scanner. And then we also have the handheld metal detector, whereby the person give you a rub-down check with the metal detector. Since after we install this security room, we have great success in the prison in terms of alleviating some of the contraband items coming into the prison. So I can say we are moving forward. This is some of the things that we upgrade to, and we're looking forward for more things. The cameras, we have more cameras to install, But thus far, this is as how far we reach as putting into our security system at the prison.
Overall, it's plain to see that the officers and the managers at Her Majesty's Prison is doing all in their power to ensure a safe and conducive society by reducing the number of return offenders. They are doing this through programs like those instituted by the Ministry of Youth that provides skill training and development and counseling. It's not an easy task, but one that the authorities are willing and ready to tackle head on. For State of Affairs, I am Wendy Edlund.
Welcome back. Putting idle lands back into production. That's one of the major benefits being realized under the Cane Co investment project operating here in Grenada. The project have been bringing new meaning to the term cane production as they prepare for the manufacturing of Renegade rum in the next few years.
Since the government of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell assumed office in 2013, they have embarked on an agenda to encourage and promote business with local and foreign investors. This week's State of Affairs takes you to one of the projects, Cane Co, better known as Renegade Rum, where we bring you an update as to what has been happening.
About 2 years ago, Renegade Rum Distillery officially launched its operations here in Grenada, promising a product that's second to none when production begins. But to get to the point of producing an actual bottle of Renegade Rum, the agricultural arm of the company, Cane Co, has been putting in the groundwork by planting and producing cane for production. Since the launch, a nursery was set up in La Colombe, St. David, where the various strains of cane is being grown and distributed to other locations for planting. They have been operating for a year and 9 months.
And we are monitoring their progress as we go. And we want to see how they perform at different locations. Generally in Grenada, from previous soil tests that was done, the soil in Grenada is, especially along the coastal area, it's very good for sugarcane. We are getting excellent growth. In fact, it's way past what the study would have indicated.
To date, close to 100 acres of cane have been planted in various locations. The ultimate goal is to have about 600 acres of cane planted by mid-2019.
We have about 29, close to 30 acres at Bacala. That's where we are right now. We are cleaning, presently we're doing some cleaning on the other side, which may give us about another 15 to 20 acres. We have just about 35 acres at River and Fine. That's in St. Patrick. And we have the nursery, which is 14 acres at La Colombe. And we have another 25 acres at Hope in St. Andrews. Most of it, like I said, is along the ideas of the sugarcane.
The project is taking a careful and calculated approach to growing cane from the climate to the soil type and the terrain of the lands. It's certainly not business as usual, all to ensure a quality product that is rich in taste and texture. A survey was conducted prior to the launch of the company to find out if the country could handle a project of its magnitude. When the results were positive, an implementation survey was done as well as soil tests.
But we want to empower farmers. That's what I do in Scotland. That's what I do in Ireland. What we want to do is encourage farmers by making it worth their while to grow cane, showing them how to do it. We've got the machinery that we can use. We've got the varieties that we've cultivated over this last 3 years.
That is Mark Rainier, investor behind the Cane Co. and Renegade Rum Distillery project. He's in Grenada on one of his regular trips to check up on the project, make connections with local farmers and landowners. He is calling on persons to get on board. The cane will be provided and farmers or landowners will be compensated monetarily.
This whole project is a new look at growing cane. I'm not interested in how people have done it elsewhere. I'm not interested in what methods they use or whatever. We're looking at this completely fresh. So I don't want to be influenced by what other people do. So we're looking at it anew. So we've got 7 ideally suited varieties which we have tissue cultured. We've gone to those lengths to make sure it's hygienic and it's clean, and so at least we're starting with that clean sheet.
Lands have already been leased in Hope, Bacolet and River and Twine, among others, bringing it back into cane production. It is not the company's objective to buy lands, but to work with farmers. One of the farmers who have come on board is Jeremiah from Plains St. Patrick. He owns acres of land and is working along with Cane Co. to bring it into cane production.
And when I heard about this Cane Co. company, I was kind of enthused, knowing that at least this land up here can be revived and put under heavy production with sugarcane. I saw something on the television. I think Cane Co. company and people have been talking about it, and I inquire. I know BJ very well. I called BJ and then I say, actually, I happened to call the right man because he was right in the heart of all things. So, and then he says he himself was actually happy I was actually getting involved in that level of agricultural production.
Some 60 persons have been employed to farm the ground, some of whom are gaining useful skills and experience on the job. State of Affairs heard their story.
Well, I've learned how to deal with the cane, how to handle the product properly. I've learned how to use a cutlass, which most of us don't know how to use. I've learned how to plant cane, like cover the cane, like use a fork and stuff. And I've learned how to deal with people in different moods and how to deal with the different weather changes.
I've learned how to plant it. There are a couple inches, you have to plant it a certain inches apart. The beds have to be a certain, about 18 centimeters or so apart. I can't remember the specific numbers right now. And then again, like I said, I have learned the type of disease that the cane can get. I've know what chemical, I've learned what chemical to treat it with. The growth of the cane, right? So I've learned that.
Yeah, the training would have been like on the job. Right? There are a couple of them who had experience in cane before. They would be children of parents who had cane prior to the decline of the industry in Grenada. So some of them are back, and some new ones who would be exposed to cane for the very first time as a result of this project.
I'm very happy that your company, Cane Co., actually came to this land to get farmers like myself and to get other farmers involved. It's like a ray of hope and a ray of light has been shown up in Grenada one more time, where the place can be put under heavy agricultural production with respect to cane.
All this fuss about locations, strains of cane, climatic conditions, soil type and handling of the cane is to ensure a premium product, one that will sit amongst the best on the world market.
Now this isn't sort of bush rum we're doing. We're challenging the top spirits of the world. I say to our guys, it's single malt rum. We're going right to the top. And this will be, I sincerely hope, around the world in all the best places.
All the workers involved are pleased to be part of the Cane Co. project and are already testifying of the immense benefits it has and will continue to bring to the country.
It's something new that's come on stream here like just a year ago. So I feel excited about it because as a young individual, it is something not everybody or every young person would want to get involved in. I believe that it would be beneficial to the country, even though it is owned by foreign investors. But there are Grenadians, or a particular Grenadian who is a shareholder in the business, and it produces a form of employment to some people. And we learn different things as workers. Some of us may not have known different varieties of cane or how to handle cane. So I believe it's a good one for Grenada.
Out of Grenada, I think it's a very great idea. It generates employment, and it boosts the agriculture sector. Also, it boosts the economy. Right? Agriculture was kind of down, being only just nutmeg and cocoa. Cane has kind of gone out of existence for a number of years. So bringing it back, it's a really great idea.
Reporting from Hope, I am Abigail McIntyre for State of Affairs.
This year's Spice Mass climaxes on August 13th and 14th. It is an event you just cannot afford to miss. I am Tamaya Monroe, Miss Grenada 2017, inviting you to the festivities, the shortney and all the different traditional mass, the fancy mass, the Monday night mass, and as Specky say, the best part of Carnival, the Juve. Spice Mass 2018 is one that's going to be fun, epic, unforgettable. Miss Grenada 2017 Tamaya Monroe inviting you to the Carnival Queen Show on August 9th, 2018 to witness the 7 beautiful ladies contesting for the title Miss Grenada 2018. It is an event that you cannot afford to miss. Miss Grenada said so.
This one is for my man.